In April, accountant Hildagard Steenkamp pleaded guilty to over 300 counts of theft. Now all that's left for her is to find out how long she'll spend behind bars for stealing from her employer. Steenkamp has been convicted of the theft of more than 500 million rand of undue tax refunds while working for healthcare company Medtronic.
For over 12 to 13 years, Hildagard Steenkamp, employed by Medtronic, abused her privileged position as an accountant to orchestrate one of South Africa's largest embezzlement scandals. In April 2023, she pleaded guilty to 336 counts of fraud, theft, and money laundering, admitting to the theft of 537 million. She was cunning. Steenkamp duplicated payments and diverted them into bank accounts, most notably her late husband's. At times, single transfers ranging between 2 million and 6 million rand occurred. She even manipulated fraudulent VAT claims to mislead authorities. Her spending was equally jaw-dropping. A forensic investigator from Deloitte revealed that she splurged over 5 million in a single night gambling. She also took lavish international trips, spending nearly 30 million, including multiple shopping sprees in Dubai.
Meanwhile, Steenkamp explained that the fraud started because her then-husband needed money for his business's operational costs. He encouraged her to swindle Medtronic after hearing of a form of a loophole to the tax refund process. Steenkamp later retracted her statements that she had been acting under duress, saying she was solely responsible. She also said she would receive between 50,000 rand and 100,000 rand from her late husband to run the household. But the prosecution presented a picture of someone living it up with overseas trips, shopping sprees, multiple properties and businesses, and tens of millions of rand spent at casinos. Sentencing proceedings resume this month. Witnesses were called up as Hildagard Steenkamp's sentencing proceedings began in August. The prosecution introduced auditing firm Deloitte, who had been appointed by defrauded company Medtronic after receiving a tip-off about Steenkamp scamming.
It's a complex matter, but I'll try and explain it in the simplest terms. I mean, effectively, what happened was the accused was involved in processing of all of the VAT claims on behalf of the company. So the company had two entities. They would import large volumes and amounts of medical equipment into South Africa, and then they would on-sell it to the local company Medtronic Africa. And between the two, that created an opportunity for the company to claim back input VAT on the imports. So in its most simplest form, they were able to reclaim money that they had paid to SARS. Effectively, what happened here was the accused managed to set herself up as a beneficiary on the bank account of Medtronic, paying herself monies that purported to be either for customs clearing agents or for SARS itself.
Steenkamp's tenure at healthcare company Medtronic began as a junior employee in the middle of 2004. By December of the same year, it seemed enough trust had been put in her to be able to pull off this crime.
Steenkamp's house was raided by South Africa's Hawks in December 2017. Authorities seized 11 luxury vehicles, motorbikes, 7 immovable properties, furniture, appliances, and jewelry worth millions. In May 2023, she formally pleaded guilty in the Johannesburg Commercial Crimes Court. In December 2023, a judge sentenced her to an effective 50 years imprisonment, a term described as unprecedented for an individual in that court's history. The magistrate emphasized the enormity of the theft, noting it surpassed any amount previously seen in the court's records. This case stands as a chilling warning. When trust is betrayed from within, the damage can be catastrophic. It also reveals how unchecked greed and a privileged access can devastate organizations over years.
Steenkamp's reign of fraudulent terror began in December 2004 with an amount of just over 24,000 rand. According to her testimony, the first few transactions were used to test whether she and her now deceased husband would be caught. By the following month, the accountant was claiming back more than 100,000 rand per single transaction. As they got away with these claims, the amounts escalated, breaching 500,000 rand in September 2006 and 1 million rand in December of the following year. By the time the 336th transaction took place in December 2016, Steenkamp had moved to sometimes embezzling more than 6 million rand in a single transaction. Steenkamp's husband also died in December 2016 following a suicide attempt.
Convicted fraudster Hildagard Steenkamp returns to the dock this month. She's been convicted of 336 counts of fraud committed between 2004 and 2016. You remember Steenkamp diverted tax refunds meant for her employer, Medtronic, to her or her late husband. The accountant would have gotten away, but a tip-off blew the lid in 2017, 10 months after she had stopped. Sentencing proceedings began in August. ENCA reporter Hloni Mtinkulu looks back at some key moments.
When sentencing is handed down in December, Magistrate Philip Venter will have to decide if the mitigating factors presented by the defense for Hildagard Steenkamp are enough.
The court, having regard to the background that I've painted for this court, I will ask the court, having considered all the relevant factors and aims of punishment and the submissions that I've advanced, to sentence the accused to a fair and just term of imprisonment, where she will not be broken and that she is not left hopeless, but still has an anticipation that one day she'll be released.
My ex-man het 'n kontrak by die staat verloor.
My ex-husband lost a contract with the state.
En hy het vir my gevra ek moet probeer geld in die hande kry.
He then requested me to try and get money in my hands.
She said her attempts to stop the transactions of a few months later were met with resistance by an abusive husband.
He already started with the assault from the year 1999, so it was continuous.
En toe ek vir hom sê ek wil dit nie meer doen nie, is ek geweldig aangeraan daai spesifieke aand.
When I had informed him that I do not want to do this anymore, I was indeed assaulted that very evening.
En ek het daai selfde aand 'n oordose pille gedrink wat my in die ICU laat beland het vir 5 dae.
And I did, on that very same evening, took an overdose of pills which landed me in ICU in hospital.
So the total amount that we uncovered was 336 transactions, and the total value was, and I'll round it to 537 million. No, Your Worship, it was not recovered. There was a process that was undertaken through the asset forfeiture unit to restrain the available assets at the time of the accused's arrest. And I think, if also memory serves me correctly, I think the total value at that stage was around 30 million that was recovered at that point in time. And that was in the form of assets. It wasn't in the form of cash specifically.